The discussions that I'm seeing with business owners is their brains are so wired to thinking, what could go wrong and what do I need to be thinking about, that they're trying to solve problems that are at chapters 8 or hurdles 8, 9, and 10, and we haven't even crossed hurdles 1, 2, and 3 yet.
Business is not a game that you can choose if you're not willing to have some rejection, look like a dickhead, and have people critique you, and fail at times, but you'll learn from that failing. A lot of us just actually need to take real, true accountability and be honest with ourselves that sometimes we're looking for all this info because we're, I'll say it like, too to do the thing that we actually need to do. A number of us business owners can struggle with the old shiny object syndrome and get distracted. But the other thing that we often see is people jumping to a stage that they are not at yet.
Yes, it's exciting, but at the same time, being a business advisor, frustrating. Because, and the analogy that I've been sharing with a number of business owners recently in a few chats, and I've got some examples to share, is business is like being in a 100-meter hurdle race, or even the steeplechase, if we want to relate it to the horses, which Luke's got some shit tips on. But I don't know how many hurdles there are in a 100-meter hurdle race. I think there's 10, and I think 10's a great number. And the discussions that I'm seeing with business owners is their brains are so wired to thinking, what could go wrong and what do I need to be thinking about, that they're trying to solve problems that are at chapters 8 or hurdles 8, 9, and 10, and we haven't even crossed hurdles 1, 2, and 3 years. And I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's pull the reins back on this bad boy and free up some bandwidth of the problems that, yes, they might need to be solved, but not right now. And let's put that energy and focus into actually getting over these first hurdles. Because if we don't get over these first hurdles, we ain't going to have any problems at hurdles 8, 9, and 10 to even solve.
Yeah, fascinating. I think this happens in many different ways, and I'm sure you've got some examples, but I think what we're about to highlight is it could be people that are having one good month in business and they treat it like it's 12 good months. And so then instantly they want to go out and get the shiny vehicle or the shiny lease or, buy the equipment, but not actually prove that the revenue is repeatable or sustainable. It can also be people that I think just simply don't want to do the work. And so they want to be at the final hurdle and then actually having their arms up across the line as if they've run the race, but they're still actually way back at the 10-meter mark, about to just jump over the first one. And then you've also got people that won't even jump hurdle 1 because they're already focused on what they may need to do at hurdle 8, 9, or 10. And you think, just start with the first one and let's worry about how we're going to jump those ones. And if you're fatigued enough by the time we get down there, like, let's just do one at a time.
I've got examples deluxe and a couple that I can share around the business buying space, for example. And we've done a whole heap of content about buying businesses. And the one thing that we're always saying to business owners is a risk that they need to manage is how emotionally invested in this are you, and take your rose-tinted glasses off. Because they've gone through, looked at the IM, they've spoken to the broker, the vendor, and they're like, yeah, this is the business. And they've psychologically, mentally purchased the business. And you're jumping on the phone with them and they're talking about stuff at hurdles 8, 9, and 10. It's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You don't even own the business yet. You don't even have an offer on the table. How are you going to pay for this business? Oh, well, how about we solve that thing first and then go, yeah, we're in a position to buy the business. Then we can worry about hurdles 8, 9, and 10. Or yeah, we can buy the business, but they're trying to go, structure it and tax. I need to do it tax efficiently. No, 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 no. Let's not put the energy into the stuff that's not important now. Yes, we'll come to it. You give them the comfort and the confidence that, yeah, you're on the right track. The thinking is okay, but it's not the right time or place. Let's park it and refocus that energy into problems, solving problems today to get over those hurdles that will create the opportunity to solve those future challenges.
Sometimes as well, we see business owners who are looking for scale and, okay, who do I speak to regarding marketing or whatever? And it's, hey, let's focus on tidying up margin first and the offer. And let's make sure that the numbers actually work. Because even speaking to a marketing agency, I was explaining to them that, okay, it might cost $1 to get $10 of sales, but I was encouraging them to learn more about the margin and the product at which they were selling as well, because
$1 to get $10 of sales?
yeah,
Wow.
But that, because often marketing agencies will be like, okay, here's the spend and then here's the revenue. I'm like, yeah, but what are the costs? Like, if you want to be a better marketing agency owner, understand the costs that they have
Mm.
and therefore the margin that they're operating at, because that is what you're actually generating, the margin, not just the sales amount. But the same thing for businesses that will come to us that want to like scale and grow and do all this stuff, and we're going to borrow this money, and then we're going to do this, and we'll hire this person. We're looking at going, hey, you're only breaking even at the moment.
Mm.
Like, let's figure out what's the point of going and doing all of that if, and they think, oh, but we'll do all of that stuff and I'll make way more money and it'll be way more profitable.
Mm.
Like, yeah, but there'll be costs that are associated with that to an outgoing. So let's get this right first and get over those first hurdles, and then let's focus on the scaling from there.
I'm probably premature as per usual here, Luke. But I think the answer is, and we've beat the drum about it a lot, is have some kind of plan and accountability. And we do it in a number of different formats with clients. But I honestly, genuinely believe the clients that have got their ideas in a structured format, whether the structure is formal or informal, but then have some kind of external accountability, whether it's using us via long form or short form um, meetings or periods, or it's somebody else. I think if you've got a mechanism to focus your attention, you know where you're going overall, but there's no, and so long as you keep your eye on the prize and solve those challenges in front of you today, you will ultimately get there.
Mm.
You know, it's like me sitting there and just going, right, okay, Porsche. You can just get easily distracted configuring blooming, the latest GT3 RS or whatever car it is. Oh, the colors and the tires, all this. Just like, no, 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 I'm trying to solve a problem when I've got hurdles in front of me that I need to get over of actually solving clients' problems to generate some income to put some cash into a bank to actually pay for it.
Mm. Yeah. But you can obviously then walk yourself back to those, right? But like people will, they don't have, a lot of people don't have that ability. They're still then just focused on the thing. And I think a part of it is that people don't want to do the work. Not everyone, but sometimes like we all get caught there where we like romanticize about these things, but we have to then get honest with ourselves and go, yeah, but am I willing to do the work? Because sometimes I'll see rip people on social media and I think, fuck, I could get back to that. Then I'm like, oh, actually, that took a lot of work to look like that. And I'm like, do I want to put that time into looking like that and then being on social media that rigged?
You got a missus now, so
That's a fair point. I got comfortable. But I think, oh, well, actually, I'd rather put my time into, building this over here or business or
yeah,
other things that are now, more enjoyable. And so it's like, actually, Luke, you don't want to do the work to do that because there's a lot of work to
massive
do that.
awareness.
Mm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you tired of tax surprises? Need a better handle on your business performance? At Next Advisory, we make accounting simple. From tax returns to everyday advice, we help you understand the numbers so you can make better business decisions. Visit nextadvisory.nz and book a time to have a chat with me. Let's get your business humming. The other example that I was going to share, and this I thought is a really interesting one, and I don't know if this person listens to our content, but I hope they don't mind me sharing their story in a generic way. But employee, very good at their job, has an opportunity to leave to go out on their own, and has put in a huge amount of work to uh, help give themselves or steer themselves to whether it's a yes no outcome. This is how much I could earn. Here's my modeling of how I would do it. Here's some direct costs. Here's some overheads. Here's some profit that's going to drop out on an annual basis. I can scale. I'm going to need some initial capital for plant and equipment, vehicles, you name it, da 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 da, and that's going to cost cash. And then if I scale this, I'm going to need to I'd like to get an employee. That's going to require some more capital, but then this is what the numbers are going to look like, da 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 da. And I'm like, man, you actually put through, and the numbers stack up. There's no issue with the numbers. And then they met with me and said, "Hey, I just want to run this through. Is this a dumb idea or is it a really good idea? Help coach through it." And I said, "Look, on the face of it, I'm like, this is a really good idea. Like, you should do it." I says, "I've been in this position and wholeheartedly back you to do this." I said, "But you're looking at it with rose-tinted glasses and you're trying to look at hiring an employee to scale your business today when you haven't even, one, resigned, and then two, gone out and earned your first dollar. So it's like you're trying to solve hurdles 8, 9, and 10 to bring it back to that analogy, when hurdle number 1 is resign. And they kind of looked at me and was just like a little bit shocked. And I'm like, well, okay, you've done some work and you've got a lead list of people that you could go and contact and shake the tree and get some confidence around pipeline and work. And I'm like, that's great. You've got to go and do that. But that's not going to guarantee you work. I said, rather than focusing on scale and the future state, hurdles 8, 9, and 10, how about you go and make $100,000 worth of sales first? And then they looked at me and it's just like, oh, yeah, no, I can do that. I'm like, yeah, as an employee working for a business with an established brand, you're going out on your own, no credibility other than as a technician, you're very good at what you're doing, but you're just on your own. As somebody wanting to put their trust in you, they might like, no, 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 no. We want to stick with XYZ company, not you as an individual. And they kind of looked at me. I was just like, yeah. So like when we come back to like making your first $100,000, there's a bit of a hill to climb.
Yeah.
And that it was a bit of a wake-up call / reality check for them. And the feedback is hugely appreciative and honest. They appreciated the honest assessment and helping steer them in the thing. And I went said to them, look, you need to go away and you've got to take some certain actions as to get over hurdles 1, 2, and 3 around some balance sheet security. But then from the planning point of view of going, okay, rather than looking at this as an annual P&L, let's break this down monthly and actually scale it up in months 1, 2, and 3. You've got next to no income. Because whilst you think you could go out there and get all of this work and make 10, 20,000 bucks a week or whatever the number is, I'm just pulling numbers out of thin air, to actually go out and make that happen is a different story. How about you go and make $1 first? Then once you've got a proven business model and you've got the work in the pipeline, then we can solve the next hurdle of hiring someone.
Far out. Yeah, I feel like our journey, like we weren't worried about hiring people until we were about to break.
Yeah, not wrong.
Well,
Yeah, hindsight. Yeah.
We just thought we'd go live on Facebook and have 20 clients and then be like, yeah, see how we go. And we're like, oh, that's weird. No one seems to care. We've started an accounting route. So, fuck, we better have to figure out some different ways. Same thing, mate. I say this all the time with people, tax structures and shit, as you mentioned before. But someone messaged me the other day and they were wanting to make some extra money. They're not trying to replace their job, but a side hustle and just have some extra cash. And then they basically realized, oh, so I'm going to get taxed at 33% in this. Oh, this sucks. Why am I being penalized for then having to work more? And I'm like, welcome to the world.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking work harder and get to 39.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But there, then confusion is like, oh, maybe I'll set up a company. And then if I do a company, then it's 28% tax. So it's like, that's unfortunately the level of understanding, for everyday people is they're not, but then somewhere on social media, they'll be seeing this, oh, company owners only pay 28% tax. So anyway, I wrote back to them to say, like, basically just don't worry about that shit. Get out there and make some money. Do the actual hard bit, the hurdle of, because this is easy to look at these hurdles down the line. Because I think it's also gives us an excuse not to take the action of knocking on the door and making the first 100 grand, like you said before. So anyway, this other person responded and said, I just wanted to thank you for this. It came at exactly the right time for me. I've invested money into building a really cool app, but have been holding back on establishing the business side of it as I keep flip-flopping on how to establish the business side and what accounting software to use. I'm just going to take the plunge and start as a sole trader and use Henry and go from there. I think sometimes with all the options, it's overwhelming. We can cause one to freeze with indecision. Hence, this was perfect for me to hear. And I think that's we've got to just try and remove all of this noise and go, what am I actually trying to do here? Like, I built an app to help people. Let's get it in front of people and see if they'll have it.
Fascinating that somebody's worried about paying 33% tax when you haven't even earned the dollar yet.
Yeah, because I reckon when you, if you think about it for an employee, like they're not used to
seeing the tax.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's physically it fucks, yes.
Yeah.
And still to the 8 years in, and we practice everything that we preach. We've got a separate tax account. We pay our tax on time. I mean, we have to because we're accountants and we get in a lot of trouble if we don't. But it's still to this day, when we pay provisional tax, it sucks.
Yeah.
I hate it. Putting the money aside in a separate account sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think I will ever get used to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just the part of being a business. And exactly comparing it to an employee, you're earning your $120,000, $180,000 salary and you get the net amount in your account. And you're trusting that your employer is paying the IRD.
True.
Newsflash, folks, there's actually a lot of businesses out there that aren't. Maybe you're working for one of them. You're trusting that they're paying your PAYE to the government, and you don't need to worry about it because you're just seeing the net amount. And that's why I think the discussion that you're talking about in terms of pre-tax and after-tax, and then making sure that we're always comparing apples with apples, and just the way you phrase it in terms of, making sure we're using after-tax income to pay for stuff.
Mm.
It's just such a, from our point of view in our world, it's such an easy concept, but for the average person out there with no background in accounting, let alone tax,
Yeah.
it's just like, this is the money that I get, so I'll spend it. They must look at it and go, oh, I'm getting, $2,500 a week. I'll multiply, so that I'm on $100,000 salary. That's what you get. No, 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 it's
Mm.
not $100,000 because there's actually a fair chunk of that that's going to the IRD.
Yeah. Yeah, even for myself, or actually I'll start here and I'll come back to this. So, because I think a lot of us just actually need to take real, true accountability and be honest with ourselves that sometimes we're looking for all this info
Mm,
because we're, I'll say it like too pussy to do the thing that we actually need to do.
yes.
And so then we go and we find all of this stuff and then we're researching that instead of what are we actually trying to achieve. And anyway, I was doing some thinking of my own about an investment decision, right? And my investment decisions always come back to in my head, would I be happy if this money goes to zero? That's my ultimate downside risk,
That's
right?
a great question.
And so I start there. And anyway, I was like, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll ask Chezza. And I'll ask Chezza what to critique me. Like, what do you think of this decision? So I'm like, okay, give it some detail. And it's like, I want to know more, blah, blah, blah. And then I keep going, keep going. And it's like, at the end of the day, Lou, the question you need to answer yourself, if this goes to zero, how are you going to feel? I'm like, boom. I got back to where I started myself.
Brilliant.
But it basically like took me in some different angles.
Yeah.
But that's basically like the thing. You're either going to invest the money or you're not. So
Mm.
you can get lost for 6 weeks, thinking about it or exploring all this stuff, or you can take the action. And I think for me, like I probably lean the other way, where as I'll just do shit and be like, I'll figure it out, or like, she'll be right, And then so I
I've got plenty of examples.
do we have another hour? Whereas so I struggle with these people that or like I see why they do it, but I think, why are you getting lost over here when
Yeah.
that's not even what you're trying to achieve? Like even for this person, it's like you don't want a fucking company or a 28% tax rate. You don't even want to learn about that. You want to make some more money to pay for some more shit. Let's just go and do that.
It's fascinating. Like, I like, my immediate thought in my mind is like, we just live in this now economy, the now world. And I think when in the context of financial stuff, people are just looking for the quick win. Okay, I need to time my entry into Bitcoin so I can ride the wave up. And I'm one of these people that have blooming now out there in a
Mm,
Lamborghini. And I think you got to remind yourself those are the unicorn
yeah.
stories that are happening. And as you're saying, ultimately, at the end of the day, in business, you've just got to do the work. There is just no easy timing of anything. It's
Mm.
just put in the effort.
Yeah, yeah. Even, another example would be, okay, let's go and ask some clients for Google reviews. And
Mm,
sometimes businesses will say to us, like, oh, well, like, I need to set this up better, or I want to wait till this. It's like, no, no. The question should be, what do you think I should say?
mm,
Because you're paying for advice and we're telling you to do it. Your question then should probably be like, okay, how and what
mm,
should I say?
mm, mm,
Not like, oh yeah, no, I've got the 6 excuses already why I'm not going to do it.
mm,
No, like you
mm,
need to do it. So do it. So write something down, text it to them, whatever. But again, I think our brains like distract us to all of these reasons why not to. And I think often we come back to it's because we care what people think about us and we care about the rejection and we care that we're going to make a mistake and look like an idiot or whatever. But my business is not a game that you can choose if you're not willing to have some rejection, look like a dickhead,
mm,
and have people critique you and fail at times, but you'll learn from that failing.
mm. I think, for business owners that this relates to, and I think it's every business owner. I'm yet to meet one that hasn't come to us going, I've got this problem in the here and now that I need to solve. Because typically when they come to us, they're thinking about something and we're just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, like that's great thinking, as I was saying before. Let's pull this back. Again, just capture those ideas and going, these are great problems to solve. I'll be able to solve them if I put in the work here first.
Yeah.
These are the problems I want to solve. Okay, but now's not the time. This is the cool stuff I want to solve, but I've got to earn essentially the right to be able to solve those problems
Mm.
by making my first dollar, by paying my tax on time, by getting into a position to hire the employee or whatever it looks like. Uh, Earn it.
Yeah, and I think what happens for some people is that they're looking for information from people who haven't done stuff. So,
Mm,
because we get to work with so many people that have done things, then we can lean on our experience and their experience. So, to give an example of this, like people will get lost at, oh, what's the best bank to use and like how many bank accounts? You're like, one that will receive money into it. Like, that's not the thing we're trying to solve for. But the same thing with your example before about hiring the employee before you're even making the money. You
Mm,
know, instead, we should probably be talking to a person that's got experience, which this person has in this case, so that's great. But I think there's so many people giving information and advice and stuff out there that we get lost down that rather than, oh, you know what would be smart? Like asking someone that's already done it.
mm.
And even for me, I paid for this workshop that I went
Yep.
to see about running workshops. And I'm like, oh, we run
Mm,
workshops. I'll pay the money because I'd like to learn how to
yeah.
get better at it.
Yep.
And they've made millions of dollars doing workshops. I'm like, they'd probably be quite smart to learn from. And it's only like $100 US. I'm like, fuck, this is a bargain.
Cheap.
So I'm watching, I'm like, oh shit, it's 3 hours. So I'm like, okay, I need to carve out some time. And then Taz is like, do you want to spend some time together? I said, unfortunately not. I've got a workshop to get. So she said, well, I'll go and watch Love Island. And I said, that's great. I'll see you on the other side. So I'm at the couch listening to it. I'm like, oh man,
On
you
top
know,
of speed.
yeah, of course, yeah. Then I'm like, oh, of course, like they're having to coach people how to do a workshop. I'm already down here going, okay, I've done a stack of these. I'm looking for like, how do I refine it? How do I improve?
They're answering hurdles 1, 2, and 3, and you're at hurdle
Yeah,
6, wanting the answers to 7, 8, and 9.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I'll sit through it. And then I'm thinking, like, in my mind, I'm like, you always want 4 to 6 weeks, like, leading into the workshop. It's like, and they're like, the worst thing you can do with a workshop is give a long lead in time. I'm like, what?
Has that got your
I'm like,
attention?
oh, whoa, 1.25 times speed. I'm like, rewind. I'm like, what the heck? Like, only do a week. I'm like, a week lead in. And they're like, because what happens is you launch it and people decide to come. And that'll be the bulk of your sales to it and signups. And then and then it'll be a big lull. And in the middle, you've got nothing happening,
Mm.
which is the lull. And then at the end, then you'll have more people in the last 48 hours. So you actually only need 7 days. And I was like, that's exactly what happens. But I spaced it out 4 fucking weeks.
Yeah.
And like in that 4 weeks, you sit there doing nothing and like waiting for it. So you
You
might
could have run 4 more workshops.
and I'm like, interesting. So there's my gold nugget straight away.
Yeah, nice.
Like you say, whereas some people, they'll be watching that workshop going, man, I'm uncomfortable speaking. Oh, like, what am I going to, talk about? Oh, and I'm kind of going, I'm at 7, 8, 9, but I'm got enough awareness to go, okay, they're doing it better than I am. I'm keen to pay 100 and whatever US bucks to go, okay, there's got to be a lesson in here for me. Like, if they're doing it that well, there must be improvement for me.
Mm.
But again, the concept being that I'm not like going and talking to someone that's never run a workshop and like, oh, what do you think about running workshops? What the
Yeah.
fuck are they going to know about it? They haven't done it. So I might as well listen to someone who's actually done, millions of dollars worth of sales with it.
Okay, if anyone's listening from the New Zealand Economic Forum,
Oh, shit.
that's probably an inside joke. We might cover that at another stage. But shout out to all the intellects and academics out there. But the other example that I was going to share, and stop me from sharing it if you think we shouldn't, but the recent meeting that we've had with a client where we're helping them move through some hurdles, and they had a couple of key decisions that they needed to make, and the noticeable shift in mindset and energy between the two decisions that were pretty much financially the same.
Mm.
One was, I know I need to get a lease for a building, and it scares me because it's a financial thing, and oh, should I do it? And what about this? And what about that? And it's just like, well, what are the benefits to your business? And what hurdles is that going to help you overcome into this future state of where this business is ultimately going that we can see, that we're helping you with? 10, 15 minutes later, oh, what do you boys think about hiring this kind of car? And that was the level of energy that came to the discussion. And it was just like, whoa, someone's jazzed up about this particular vehicle. And it wasn't a Ranger, which I was a little bit disappointed about. Yeah, it was. But the car that they did say that they wanted to get was still pretty cool. It was actually probably cooler than a Ranger. And I sat, and then you didn't say anything. And then I just came in guns blazing, and I'm just like, no, you haven't earned it. And the immediate mood shift back I felt was fascinating. And I'm like, and I don't know whether the client saw it at the time, but I tried to share it with them or articulate it in a way of like, take note of your energy in the decision and effort that you're prepared to put into making a decision around a vehicle versus the building. Which one's actually better for your business? And it's the building. Why don't you have the same energy into making that decision?
Mm.
I just found so fascinating.
Yeah, I think 'cause, like, we're so heavily marketed to that cars and vehicles, especially for lads, yeah, gonna make us, like, feel a certain way, and there's no doubt, like, they do. Like, we've been marketed to it where you can't help but get in a nice car and you're like, you feel a certain way.
Yeah, those Audi drivers are the worst.
Should try driving a hairdresser's Merc, mate. I feel so confident I can cut people's hair on the weekends. But it's so strong, and we see it with business owners. What I really admired about that is that business owner was actually, like, asking if it was okay to do it. I was kinda
Yes.
thinking, you know what's funny? Most people tell us, like, "Oh, I've leased this vehicle. Thought I'd better let you know for the accounting things." They were actually like,
Permission.
yeah, and we're basically you're just like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, okay, like, I'll put that on ice," but you could tell they'd gone away and got the numbers and all that side of it, but, yeah, 100%. I think there's when you've got a clear goal and a strategy of where you're going,
Mm,
then the steps in which you do some of those things do make sense, and we basically said, "Let's go lease first.
yes.
That's gonna achieve operational efficiency, plus a number of other things we won't get into, and that vehicle will come, and now your challenge is how fast do you want it?
Yes.
And let's go and do this, this, and this, and if you go away and do that and can come back and say that you have, then brother, pull the trigger on that vehicle. Like, we ain't gonna stop you, especially come have a look at our car park. We've got a couple of cars ourselves.
And then I
We've
was
got
I
one
was
car.
and a microwave on wheels. I've got a story. I won't put it on the pod,
Okay.
but for afterwards that I'll come back to. Um, I took a leaf out of some of the work that I've done with Maria, who I do some one-on-one work with, but then also David Neathy,
Yep.
and then there's that other lady,
Sure, Rob.
Sarah,
Yeah.
and they're big on the vision boards, but
Mm.
sensory related. And at that moment when we're working with this client, I was just like, "Fuck! I've just gone guns blazing on this guy and shattered his dream about the particular car that he wants to get." And I'm like, "Okay, let's come back at the building. We've got a picture." And I thought that was smart of you to put that up on the TV. There's the building, and his mind straight went to, "I'm going to paint the front of it." I'm like, "Yep, cool. Whatever color you want it." And then just imagine your business branding on the front of it. You could see his eyes light up. And then it was like, right, okay. Well, now that you've got the building and you've got everything in there, let's fast forward and you're achieving some of the stuff. Now visualize that truck that
Mm.
you've got sitting in there humming away. And then I saw it in him that that his energy then shifted and he lit up and he's just like, yep, I can get that. I want to get the answers or the rewards at hurdles 8, 9, and 10, but I've got to put in the work for hurdles 1, 2, and 3 first to be able to earn it.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many business owners out there that do it the other way around.
Yeah.
They'll go out and go, I'll go and get the reward now, the Ranger on finance because it's cheap and it fills my ego and its status, and then put in the work and then go, oh, gee, that's a bit tough. And you've had some recent conversations last year potentially with business owners where their balance sheets aren't the greatest, and it's like, hey, reality check, all of the stuff that you've got, UDC, Heartland, whatever it is on finance, you need to sell these and pay back the debt
Mm.
because you can't afford them. You haven't earned them. Let's cross the hurdles first that almost give you the right to then be able to go, I've earned it. My P&L can handle the leverage that's going to the weight that's going to come from the balance sheet from cash flow. And then that's what people miss.
Yeah, and it's never a fun convo,
It's not.
but the problem is that the accountant is gonna tell them they can't afford it, the debt dealer is gonna say you can.
Mm.
But the reality is that you can't afford it, and that's why you're using the debt. So it's then, can the business afford the cash flow? And if you can, cool, we've got no qualms, but if you can't, we're gonna tell you, "Hey, when you say to us, 'Oh, profitable, we don't have any cash,' yeah, because you gave it to the debt dealer,
Yeah.
and you didn't think that it was gonna keep getting sucked out every month, and you went and got a second one or this piece of equipment as well. You've got to think about that cash impact on the business, and it's the same thing, where instead of someone mapping out the impact of a financial decision or loan transaction in their cash flow, they'll come to us when they go, "Oh, I've got a cash flow issue."
Mm.
We're like, "Yeah, well, no shit, because you added in more cash outgoings,
Mm.
and we don't have enough margin, so now we've actually, what do you say? Like, it's a symptom, not the cause,
Yes.
right?" Like,
Yep.
yeah, so again, we'll go and do the cool thing, and then instead of starting at the other end and go, "Okay, let's actually work through this methodically."
Uh, Top tip for listeners and viewers that made it this far through another exciting Next Advisory podcast would be in your 100-meter hurdle race that you're crossing and there's 10 hurdles, little secret insight for you. There's a couple of hurdles in there that I'll tell you what the answers are or that you need to cover. One is pipeline and sales, and the other one's gross profit.
Nice.
Don't go beyond the hurdles that are into the future unless you've crossed those ones.
So those are very early on. Sort those.
Bloody oath.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. It's non-negotiable, and we beat the drum,
Mm,
and I can't beat it enough for business owners to about. And we've done podcasts on it about pipeline conversion, sales, pricing, all of that kind of stuff. And we're passionate. We love it. We want business owners to succeed, and I think there's just so much that you can understand. And I mean, I could go on over the mind immediately. It's go, your contact list, shake the tree. Anyway, but
mm,
then gross profit. Put in the work, understand. I think once you understand those levers at the top of your P&L intimately,
yeah.
then you've got permission to then go to the next hurdle.
The example that I gave in a recent podcast, and A, I'm not a builder, and B, I haven't built a house, but you have. But I'm fairly sure that I'm kind of close-ish with this, is
Yep.
that none of us would expect like a roofer to turn up on like week one and be like, oh, here to put the roof on.
Mm.
Be like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
There's an order that a builder will put a house together, and
Mm.
that's completely normalized. But in business, people sort of just turn up in their week, and it's like, oh, like, what are you building this week? "Oh, I don't know. Just sort of open my inbox and just see what happens. Like, no, that's you're working in there. You need to be working on this thing.
Mm.
And if you can start by picturing what it is that you want the house, i.e., the business, to look like, then you would start to do it in stages and in steps, much like that client that is building some of the foundations and then the support. And now it's like, okay, now we need more with the office space, for instance. And
Mm.
then, okay, cool, the vehicle can come, but that's a cool thing, that can come later. Let's make sure that this is actually, you know, um, waterproof or watertight first before we
Yeah.
start doing that. But for some reason, for business, I feel like so many people just sort of, oh, I started a business and just sort of drift around and don't really know like, what it is. But because we do so many 90-day business planning sessions, I think it's so hard for Kiwi people to admit, but they're a little bit like, yeah, wouldn't mind having a bit more money, eh? And I'm like, mate, that is music to my ears in here,
Yeah.
whether it's a male or a female business owner. Like, it's okay to say that's
Come to the
okay.
right place.
Yeah, I'm like, let's fucking refine it for that. Let's
Yeah.
go. But I think it's really hard for people to admit in a society where we're like, oh, you're greedy. Oh, well, don't you have enough? So they would then have to use like, oh, I want this or I want that. It's like,
Mm.
no, you want to have some more cash. Let's refine it for that.
And I think the honest hands down assessment here is when you go into business, you've got no fucking clue what you're doing. Even, and I'll put my hands
Us.
up as an accountant, no idea.
Mm.
Um, and like looking back on some of the stuff that we've done, particularly with the school rebates and some of the spankings that we've got and
Yeah.
lessons, and you think, you go to an accountant for business advice. Accountants are the worst possible people you can go to for business advice because they haven't built or run a business. They've just earned the right to be called a partner or a director of a franchise. Um, as employees thinking, I can go out and be a business, you've got a technical skill and can transition. And much like the work that you're doing with Keep the Change around financial literacy, there's a big gap, which hopefully this is trying to fill, around business ownership literacy of going, let's make people better business owners. Because yes, you've got some great technical capability, and we're not going to disagree with your ability to be able to trim trees or mow grass or pour concrete or put on a roof or whatever it is that you do. But there's some skills that you haven't even had to blim and explore yet around managing cash, filing a GST return, invoicing people, collecting that cash. That was
Mm.
a fascinating discussion that I had with this potential business owner the other week. It's like, you invoice that $100,000, but how are you going to make sure you get paid that?
Mm.
And you could see the cogs turn of just going, oh, yeah, no, it's just like, yeah, you're having to now solve problems you have never had to think about before as an employee.
Mm. And what if they don't pay you?
Exactly. And then going, oh, in like that world where like bills just get paid in that company that you work for, and it's all 20th of the month following terms, like you want cash faster. So you're going to want like 7-day terms. Oh, how am I going to get that if people are like used to 20 days? Well, there's something you're going to have to try and solve.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a game of solving problems, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
think that's actually like my key final message is that we should be encouraging ourselves more to try and enjoy the process. And the process is the reward, is a saying. And it's basically instead of looking at it going, oh, I don't actually want to jump hurdle 4, 5, and 6 and 7. I just want to get to 8, 9, 10 in the finish line.
Mm.
No, like the reward is going through the process and actually doing it. So, yep, sometimes it sucks. You do 1, 2, and 3, and you think, okay, man, I can see all of this. But I think a good example of this at the moment is Mikey, and I'm sure he'll come on the pod and openly talk about it,
Mm.
where he's gone from mortgage advisor, building it up, good income, okay, sell my book, okay, now I'm going to build a business. And it's like, man, I've got to go through years of grind again. I'm back to the start.
He crossed hurdles bloody 6, 7, and 8,
Mm.
and then decided to bin all of the income
Yeah.
and then go, "Fuck hurdles 8, 9, and 10. I'm gonna go back and start a new race."
You're going to do the 200-meter hurdle race.
Yeah, from the very beginning, and I was just like, "What mad fucker would do that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
good on him. That'll be a great pod to listen to.
yeah. Yeah. So that's, I think, if we can all train ourselves a little bit to, this hurdle sucks, but I'm still going to do it. And
Yeah.
you know that by jumping that hurdle, you're actually getting rewarded, but it's not a shiny car, or it's not this, or it's not that. It's like, I just know I need to jump this one hurdle in front of me right now, and that the
Mhm.
car will be down there, or the holiday, or the extra money, or the better client, or not having to do this in the future.
Mm.
It is there, but you can't skip the hurdles.